Hello and welcome my friends to the Flying Kick. This is Savino speaking and today I bring you the review of Final Vendetta, a Neo Geo inspired beaten up from the guys at Bitmap Bureau that arrived today for PC, Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. According to the devs, this is a true arcade experience from the graphics to the difficulty, but how well does a true arcade game hold up nowadays? Well, let's find out after the intro. Our story begins with Claire, one of the three playable characters answering a phone just to find out that her sister, Juliet, was kidnapped by the Syndicate, and will set her free after Claire does a job for them. Now it's time for her and two friends, Miller and Duke, who happened to be at her side at the time of the phone call, to pay the ransom with the blood of the kidnappers. I have to admit that even for a beaten up story, this is quite simple. We don't have the name of the city, we don't know who the Syndicate is, or even why Claire is important to them. All we got beyond the introduction of the game is a simple description for each character in the manual. Yes, this is a pure arcade beaten up in terms of story, just like Burning Fight or Mutation Nation, with almost no background information of who you are or who you are facing. It's a straightforward affair, hit the streets and punch some bad guys in the face. And that's all we need to know. First and foremost, we must have in mind that this is a Neo Geo game. The aim of the devs was to create a beaten up true to its roots in the 90s and based everything here on the Neo Geo hardware, so don't expect here fancy light effects flashing on your screen or complex backgrounds, which, in all honesty, are a little on the weaker side here. You don't have much life happening in them, the colors are a little muted and you get only one layer of parallax scrolling, what is expected for a Neo Geo game, but still can leave one disappointed when you have other games on the market doing much more in terms of graphics. Sure, we have to keep in mind the capabilities of the hardware the game was developed for, and when you compare with other Neo Geo beaten ups, what you have here is pretty good. At the same time, the majority of the players won't be Neo Geo owners after all. The game was also created to run on modern hardware and people expecting modern flares here may be a little disappointed with such lifeless backgrounds. The characters, by their turn, will not disappoint here. They are incredibly well made and well animated, vibrant colors, lots of frame for each of the playable characters and enemies, and some of them even have some nice idle animations. You can see Miller's mullets flying around when he punches, or Duke's jacket swaying when he runs, or the way some enemies are just chilling around before your arrival. It's all very reminiscent of SNK style of animation with high frame counts and 6 smooth moves that will catch your attention from the start. They are also very detailed. All enemies and characters are extremely good looking, making good use of the colors and the low resolution of the sprites. It's impressive how much personality they were able to put on each of the characters you will see on your screen. And I have not even talked about the bosses yet. They are all huge as expected, and Bitmap Bureau took advantage of this tradition to deliver some of the most detailed bosses you will see in a pixel art beaten up. I won't spoil too much here, but there are a pair of Brazilian bosses that are fantastic to watch. From the clothing to the hair, everything is so detailed and accurate that it's hard to go back and complain about the backgrounds. In the end, the graphics are a mixed bag and kinda hard to evaluate. For a Neo Geo game, we can't really complain about the dual backgrounds and muted color. This is what the machine could do at the time, but for a game made in 2022, running on modern consoles, some may find the lack of life in the scenarios a little boring. But let's be fair here. How many times in a fast-paced beaten up you stopped between two waves of enemies to smell the roses? When it comes to the audio, there's little to nothing to complain about here. The sound of your punches, barrels smashed, or even some bones breaking are all very good. Your punches have a lower pitch than what are common in beaten ups, it gives them a certain dryness that's very satisfying to hear every time. The objects that you can break also have a very good sound effect with some metal barriers emitting an echo when you break them. Boxes, phone booths, trash cans, they all sound great when you hit them. And this is a detail that can be easily overlooked by most devs, but here you can listen to the care they put in each sound clip. The same can be said for the voices, they are crystal clear and more important, they don't repeat too often. There has been a trend lately where characters on the screen keep repeating ad nauseum the same voice clip with every move, and this, late in the game, ends up being an annoyance for the player. Here you will listen the same screams and grunts, but they are varied enough to avoid stagnation. This dedication, by the way, extends to the soundtrack. If you enjoy electronic music, you will love what the devs have in store for you here, and if you don't, you will see yourself enjoying it even against your will. The soundtrack is signed by Utah Saints and Feature Cast, some very well-known names in the electronic scene in the UK, and they did an outstanding job here. From the start screen to the end game, there is no track I didn't enjoy here. They all have a good beat and perfectly serve the mood of the game, since they have a true feeling of music from the streets. You can get the best OST around in any genre, and you hardly will find one that fits the game so well as the ones you will listen to here. The soundtrack's so good that I'm pretty sure that some tunes here would make Yuzo Koshiro rise his ears. Now that we talk about everything that helped making a good beat'em up, let's dive into what really makes or breaks one: combat and gameplay. You have, as you already know, 3 playable characters: Claire, the fast but weaker character, Duke, the middleman who is probably your best choice to get acquainted with the game, and Miller, the tank. Miller is probably the hardest character to use due to his lack of agility and not being very suited to crowd control. He can do a lot of damage to the surrounding enemies, don't take me wrong, but the slow movement speed and extremely powerful moves are best used to quickly finish an enemy and move to the next, then gather them around to finish them off. In his arsenal are mostly wrestling moves, with elbow blows, backdrops, and a backbreaker that will be your go-to move to finish your enemies. So satisfying it is. He can sprint just like the others and can pull a heck of a kick while doing it, but you will rarely be using this with him. He also has a devastating tornado punch that can be released and press jump and special button together that I will call semi-super from now on, due to its power and range. Miller can be very effective, but the lack of speed and crowd control ability make him not only difficult to play, but also a little unappealing for some people. Playing with him ends up being more a matter of taste than anything else. And the developers know that, so much that if you want to play in the ultra difficulty, you must first finish the game with him on the hard mode. Duke, on the other hand, is extremely well suited to all types of players. He is the traditional all-around guy with enough strength to kill your enemies fast, but also agile enough to let you gather big groups around to quickly dispatch them. Duke also can juggle most enemies at will, which makes him a little overpowered after you master his moves. He has a powerful dragon punch and a cycling kick that can quickly eliminate all your enemies, give them no chance to react, but don't go abusing too much. His juggles have only a few invincibility frames and enemies behind you will be able to hit you. His semi-super is a flurry of flaming fists that pushes him towards, making this an easy way to approach a large group of enemies. He will be, without any doubt, your best shot to first beat the game. Claire is your typical female character from every beat'em up. She is extremely fast, deals little damage and has a smaller life bar than the rest. You can lose a life with a group of basic enemies if you happen to be distracted with her for a second, but if you know how to use her, she will probably be your best option to deal with larger group of enemies. Her agility, combined with the lower impact of her moves, is perfect for positioning a group of enemies wherever you desire in the scene and finish them from there. Even take more hits to kill any given enemy, you will find that some of her moves, like the ultrasonic burst, Hearse and Super, have enough reach to keep all your enemies at bay and enough strength to kill them without it becoming too repetitive. She also has a double kick that can be combined with the ultrasonic burst to create a very deadly combo sequence. And you will be able to create all types of combos in this game. The amount of moves you have is really impressive if you consider the game uses only 4 buttons. Besides your regular attack, you have a very useful back kick that can be performed by pressing attack and special buttons together, and also can be used as a frontal attack if you press the directional together. You can step on fallen enemies and block incoming attacks. Your grab move is also very versatile. Once you get hold of the thug, you can beat him with your normal attack, use your special button to perform a strong attack, or even jump over them to change how they will be thrown. But nothing of this would really matter if it wasn't for the cancels in this game. You can cancel every move and everything is so snappy that your cancels can become part of your combos, creating even more devastating chains. The freedom you have with your combat in this game makes everything so fluid and precise that you will keep playing just to see what kind of crazy chains you can create. Besides that, and for our extra joy, the developers also added a super move. Here, they opted for a crowd control move instead of a clear screen attack, just like Final Fight, which will be very useful in many situations due to a careful thought enemy spawn system. Enemies will always come from both sides of the screen and, when you least expect, from the backgrounds just to quickly surround you. They can be extremely fast, so be prepared to use your super a lot. It works like in the old days, pressing both jump and attack at the same time, but here you have a little bar that prevents you from losing life when it's full. Of course, you will lose life if the bar is not completely full and you use the super, but like in the old days, the amount of life is way less than what you lost being hit. Your enemies will come in all familiar shapes and forms you already seen in these games. Nothing new, but also nothing lacking here. You have your typical cannon fodder, the fast and fatal female with a whip, the charging fat guy, the guy armed with knives, and some even with handguns. A good thing here is their palette swapped versions not only change colors and get stronger, but also they can learn new moves and take you by surprise when you least expect it. This maintains the game fresh and keeps you on your toes because you never know if a certain combo chain that was working so far will work on the next enemy. Something very welcome in a beaten up, I must say. The bosses are exactly what we would expect from a game like this. They are all huge, extremely strong, and will put you down extremely easily if you don't take care enough. They don't have different phases of attack, except for one boss. As one would expect in a modern beaten up, they have a specific set of moves that they will use until the last drop of life, and you better learn them all if you want to survive. A few hits can cost you a life, and they are fast enough to keep you busy trying to avoid their hits while looking for a chance to attack. These are classic boss battles where learning through repetition will be your best shot. Although everything looks solid at first, for the more casual crowd, this game can have some problems. Enemies are way too fast and relentless and will pile up on you after you're knocked down, giving you almost no chance to recover if you don't know how to counter them. Some bosses can be a pain until you learn all their moves, and the complete lack of continues or save states can be frustrating sometimes. That's right, when your life gets to zero, is high score scream and game over. It can be a little upsetting if you just want to finish the game, but if you're looking for challenges, there aren't many like this game around. The game also offers a traditional boss rush mode, a survival mode that can provide a more serious and competitive ground, and a versus mode that can grant some casual fun between friends. None of these modes are very fleshed out here, having only the basic stuff that you can expect of this type of game. Control-wise, I have very few things to note here. Every move, every punch is snap and responsive as it should be. You can pull all moves with ease, and even moves that use combined buttons are pretty fast and will never fail you. With that said, the only problem you may find with the controllers is the button layout. Don't get me wrong, the devs gives you 24 configurations of controller to choose, but unfortunately, none of them make uses of the shoulder buttons. No matter the configuration you choose, it's all about the face buttons. Normally, this wouldn't be a problem, but when you have moves that use combinations of two buttons, have at least one set to the shoulders, can do wonders to the gameplay. Yes, this is a Neo Geo game and I'm pretty sure that it's better to play with an arcade controller, but you must give your audience a little bit of freedom when it comes to controls. Most of us will play this game with a gamepad. In the end, Final Vendetta is a very, very good beat'em up. It's a game that takes the Expression arcade experience and makes it literal, not only a nod to the graphics from the past. Created and tailored for hardcore, here's a game that will keep you busy for dozens of hours until you can say you are good at it. A game perfect for speedrunners, high-score chasers, and one-credit runners. For the casual, it can be a hard sell due to the lack of continuous and save points, but if you're willing to learn how to become good in beat'em ups, here's one that have everything you need. This game is a school for beat'em up players, both new and veterans. It will teach everything you need to become good at these games, and after you master it, there will be no game too hard for you. If you are a new Geo owner, there's not even a need for review, my friend. Go out and buy this game now. Final Vendetta may not suit everyone's taste, but I assure you, if you are looking for a true challenge, this game is a perfect one. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review, and if you do, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel. There's more to come in the next weeks, so see you all in the next video, and remember, keep it up.